Hi guys, what is up? Hope you're having a good day. I'm having a fantastic day, but it's kind of cold and windy outside. In this video, a crazy theory about Merlin and magic and how it might all work, which should be kind of interesting. Also, of course, the usual 5-card spread, but I'm going to duck indoors now because it's freezing. Wow, made it, and this is a fair bit more comfortable. Anyway, right, there's this wacky theory, okay, and I'm not claiming that this is science or anything, but I am claiming science isn't everything it's cracked up to be, but I'm always doing that, you know that by now. We'll start, though, we're going to start with the Keepers of the Light card, just a kind of card of the day, as it were, for you if you're drawn to it. So I've had a shuffle, let's cut the deck, and what we've got is Katumi, Cloak of Wisdom, and there he is. And so, what is Katumi saying to us? You already know the answer you seek, trust what you know. Okay, well, I'm going to take that as quite a positive indication of the answer that I'm going to give out today, because it's an answer that I sort of think I know what it is, and that's what I'm going to explain. But at the same time, I'm still kind of seeking that answer. You'll see what I mean as we go on. Anyway, a little bit later in the video, we will get out the Cosmic Tarot, get it the right way around as well, by Norbert Louche, and we'll do a 5-card spread and see what that has to say about it as well. But right now, this theory about Merlin, okay? Let's just put those down a minute. Merlin, right, there are all kinds of things said and claimed about Merlin. I personally have no doubt that magic is real and that Merlin is a real soul who is very much busy in the human race and in the human world every day. He wasn't actually a human, though. It's been said that he was half human. And I've talked about the Merlin movie from 1998, which is a movie I absolutely love, and I watch it again and again. And I have said that that's fairly historically accurate. And really what I mean by that is it's accurate in terms of what Britain is almost certain to have been like in the Dark Ages. Of course, nobody really knows because it was dark, wasn't it? Because it was the Dark Ages. And, you know, history is kind of, you know, it's sketchy. History is pretty sketchy from around those times. But the crazy round stone houses with trees for, you know, whole tree sections laid over each other for a roof, that's pretty accurate. We found evidence of that going way back. The only thing that I can't really be sure about in terms of Merlin is, was he actually, is that the time he was around, the British Dark Ages, kind of 1500 years ago, that kind of thing? Or was he around a long time before that? I'm sure that a soul like Merlin is more than capable of reincarnating many, many times. And this brings us to the idea that some of the stones in Stonehenge were flown across the sea by Merlin from a mountain which, it's behind the camera now, and the camera won't pick it up because it's way in the distance and it's all kind of greyed out. But there's a mountain I can see from my window just behind the camera called Preseli Mountain. I'll spell it out in the description so you can see it. And that is made of this blue stone, which is unique, really, to Preseli. And some of that blue stone, great, huge, enormous slabs of it, you know, mind-bogglingly big slabs of this Preseli blue stone, form part of the inner circle at Stonehenge. And so people have always wondered how they got there. It would take me about 3 to 4 hours to drive from here to Stonehenge. Of course, back in medieval times, you didn't have to curve round the cities and stuff, so it might have been a slightly shorter journey. But in any case, it would have taken just about forever for people to actually reach Stonehenge from here, you know, on foot, especially carrying these big stones. And there is an old tale in Welsh folklore and in British magic folklore, really, generally, that Merlin flew the blue stones across the sea. And, you know, I've always believed that. I believe that to this day, actually. The question is that magic exactly as we see it, like something with absolutely no explanation? Or is there possibly an explanation for it? And this is where we go outside the box, guys. This is where it goes really kind of gets a bit crazy. So you have to decide, what do you think about this? All right, I'm certainly not a flat earth theorist, but I don't believe that science has all the answers. Although science in the modern age is a very accurate thing, the question is, what's it based on? Because if you ask a scientist, where did the Earth come from in the first place, they can tell you about what was going on in space 40.5 billion years ago when the Earth first formed, according to them. But they can't actually tell you why space is there, why the universe is there. They can't tell you that even if there was nothing, why would there be such a concept as nothing if you know, nothing had ever happened and there just wasn't anything. There is some reason that science doesn't understand for how we all got to be here. That is an absolute fact. The rest of this, though, is kind of conjectural, but it makes sense to me in a lot of ways. Now, they say that the Earth is 40.5 billion years old, and the Earth is expanding. It expands about one millimeter every 100 years, something like that. It's very, very slowly getting bigger over time. And if you go back 40.5 billion years ago, it's only something like 400 meters wider now than it was then. But the thing is, a day being a day, the Earth has to go round once in a day. We know that because that's how the sunrise and sunset and the moon cycles and everything, where the Earth goes round once in a day. But if the Earth was smaller and still went round once in a day, then it would be going a little bit slower, you know, than whatever speed, whatever crazy speed we're all travelling at right now. A little bit slower. Now, if the Earth was actually a hell of a lot older than that, and I defy any scientist to conclusively prove that the Earth isn't a hell of a lot older than that, I don't really think they know, then at some time the Earth must have been pretty small, and the Earth would have been spinning very slowly. And gravity comes from the Earth spinning. That's what makes things heavy. So if the Earth was spinning a lot slower, gravity would be a lot less powerful. Things would weigh less. And now we get into the dinosaur part of it. And stay with me, guys. I'm going to do a reading pretty soon and get away from all this wacky theory stuff. But I'm really getting to the point here, and I think this is well worth at least thinking about, even if you find you can't believe it. And I'm not sure myself. But you see, many of the dinosaurs had very long necks. And possibly one of the reasons that the dinosaurs died out was that as the Earth kept on expanding, gravity got too much and that they couldn't pump the blood up to their heads because they were very big creatures, you know. This might also be why there were giants, and, you know, we have actually got evidence of that. Giant skulls have been found. Huge. You know, there are still giants to this day, but if you go back a few thousand years, there were much bigger giants than anything we could possibly imagine. Huge people. And the chances are that they would have died out because of that same thing of gravity and just not having a heart strong enough to pump the blood all the way up a kind of 30-foot human body, or human-like body anyway. So there you go. There's some positive evidence for this idea, I think. Just the fact that the dinosaurs died out and that we used to have giants in a way that we don't anymore. So there's that. And now, if gravity was that much less that long ago, maybe it was pretty easy to make stones the size of Stonehenge fly across the sea. Maybe someone could pick them up and throw them. And maybe this is all, you know, I still see it as magic in a very big way. But maybe this is an early incarnation of Merlin. Maybe this is actually how it happened, how it's possible. Because one thing that I'm sure all of you watching this would understand is that magic is a feasible thing. Magic is a possible thing. Otherwise, why would you be watching a tarot reader and a spiritualist medium, which is essentially what I do? And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, because this is about as out there as I ever get. Okay, this is really out there stuff. But there's the theory, you know, maybe the Earth was that much smaller, maybe gravity was a much smaller consideration, maybe things didn't weigh much, and maybe that's how it happened. And just to add a teeny bit to that, okay, if the Earth was that small and the Earth's core was still pretty big, then all the stones on the surface of the earth would have been very, very much hotter. And whatever beings existed there in those days might have been able to cope with that heat, because it would have been the ambient temperature of the earth. And this, my friends, is how things like Machu Picchu can be, I think, because that would be how you would mold granite into these perfectly matching slabs that fit together. And, you know, they say you couldn't get a cigarette paper or like a postage stamp, even a human hair, between the stones. They're so well cut and they're so well matched. Are they cut, or were they kind of squished into molds when the earth was much smaller and much hotter? That's the question. Okay, right, well, now then, if excuse me, if that's completely blown your mind right out of your head, why not switch off for a second and get a drink of tea or coffee or something, just to kind of take the craziness away? I'm going to have a quick drink now, actually. Look, this is my new mug that I got today. It's a totally insane mug. It's giant and it's very thin. But, you know, craziness is how I like life to be. If you can't tell from what I've just been saying for the last 10 minutes or so. Anyway, Cosmic Tarot deck is in my hand. I'm having a shuffle and we're going to pull out 5 cards. We're going to do a 5-card reading and we will see what it has to tell us, whether that be about Merlin or whether that be about life and love and money and all the stuff we worry about in this day and age. Let's turn over some cards and see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You can pick a card if you like, but I'm going to read them as a 5-card reading, okay? Card number 1, it's the Sun. Great card. This card keeps coming out just lately, actually, and this is making me think that I, and maybe all you guys who watch regularly, are coming into a really positive time, because the Sun says everything's in place and it's good for stuff to start happening, okay? There is always stuff waiting in the wings of our lives to happen. There's always something up our sleeves, and there's always something up the sleeve of the goddess as well. So it's about to happen, folks. We're at a really positive beginning at this time in human history. Excuse me. So much has changed, hasn't it, in the last year or so, or more than that if you're watching in the future. But if you're watching as I upload this video, so much has happened in about the last 18 months. The world has totally changed, has it not, friends? So the Sun, stuff is waiting to happen. Stuff is going to happen. That is a fact. And it actually looks very positive. There's a nice childlike energy with the Sun. And that image of a child that we've got so prominently here is, it's a youthfulness. And that means the situations of our lives are youthful. They're always going to evolve, you know. Even for quite elderly people, there is always more to happen. And it always can be mind-blowing as well. Nothing ever stays the same. So that's card number 1. Card number 2. We have the 8 of Pentacles, and this is a very good portent, actually, because moving on from the Sun, this is showing a massive amount of abundance, and it's showing also, because it's the number 8, it's showing the eternal nature of abundance. And if you're seeking abundance and it's not working out for you, and believe me, friends, I really have been there in a big way. Part of me is there now, only I'm more believing that abundance can come and starting to understand how it works. And as I come to understand how it works, I actually find that abundance is coming in, and it's, you know, very positive, very helpful. So, you know, visualize what you believe, folks, and visualize and believe what you seek. That's what I meant to say. Visualize it happening, believe it can happen, because it really can. That is how this stuff works. It really does. But that figure 8 is really leading us towards the idea of as above, so below. That's kind of what the figure 8 means, and that's why it represents eternity, because there's the kind of sphere above us in, you know, the afterlife, the world of spirit, the wider universe. Your higher self is all part of it, believe me. And then there's the bottom circle, which is below. And above and below work really well together like that. So if you've had a life where you just don't feel that you can attract abundance, or you feel you've never had abundance, fair enough. You know, a lot of people go through that. And we're always accused of being miserable when we say that. But I know how it feels. I know it's a real thing, guys. I really, really do. If you've had that kind of life, please take heart from the idea that there is a wider universe out there that is trying to bring things into balance all the time. And when things are in balance, we feel happy. And that might mean abundance of any kind. We might actually never have a lot of money, but we might be actually much happier with what we've got if we keep on that path. If we really need money to make stuff happen, no reason why it isn't going to come in, because it is energy. Some people say it's a very bad energy, but I don't believe that. I don't agree with it. Money is can be a very, very positive energy. It just tends to get sucked into activities and promoting stuff that isn't all that good, but that's the nature of money. You can use it in a good way, you really can. It's a bit like sometimes people say, I'm a bad person because I do tarot, I do magical things, and that's kind of how I make my living in life. And then they'll go and kind of have a good old drink, and they won't think for 1 minute that the brewery or the people who make the alcohol are bad people because they're creating alcoholism all the time and backing the alcoholism up with constant advertising on TV. Oh, that just gets ignored. The fact is, you can use alcohol in a positive way, just have some and be happy with it and kind of be sensible with it, or you can wreck your whole life with it. And that's the case with absolutely everything, to be honest. So there you go. There's my there's about my 10 cents actually, by the time I've said all that about card number 2, abundance and the 8 of Pentacles. So now we come to card number 3, and in a 5-card reading, as I'm always saying, this is very much the heart of the matter, friends. And what we've got here is the Hermit card. And this is from the Cosmic Tarot. It's a lovely deck, by the way. Let me just show you the box in case you want to find it. I believe it's out there on Etsy. I don't know if you can actually get this on Amazon. I've never looked. I was given it for Christmas by a very dear friend. But anyway, the Cosmic Tarot by Norbert. Not sure if that's Lurch, Lush or Losh, but Norbert, Norbert, someone. It's the Cosmic Tarot. And it's the Hermit, and this is the heart of the matter. Now, this is really interesting to get in a video about the nature of magic and all the contemplation we've got to do, because whether I'm right or wrong with that theory about how old the Earth might be and how old magic might be and how long it might all have been going on, whether or not I've got that right, it's something worthy of contemplation. Magic itself is always worthy of contemplation. And life is a magical thing. And if we're really going to get the most out of the magical nature in life, then we need to, I would say, meditate. It's kind of a strong word. What we've really got to do is think about it. Meditation is definitely a choice, but meditation is definitely a very good way to look into these things and build up our understanding of them. And here's this character meditating, and as he meditates, got the light of the sun and the moon. As the sun sets behind the mountain there, the moon is absolutely sparkling. And they do relate very closely, because the light we see when we look at the moon is actually reflected from the sun. That's why the sun is kind of the boss in astrology, whichever way you might look at astrology and whatever you might think about it. But contemplate, okay, guys? Contemplate the magic. That is that is the core of today's message, and today's message is about eternal truth. So I guess it's the core of eternal understanding, for want of a better way of putting it. And that, of course, brings us to card number 4, the kind of short-term future. Where are we going? Where are we heading? Prince of Pentacles. We've got another Pentacles card. This is a very abundant reading. It's showing abundance everywhere. We've had the Sun, we've had the 8 of Pentacles, we've had the Hermit, and that doesn't sound like an abundance card, does it? But really, guys, that's how you get in touch with the inner abundance that every human being is always carrying. That's how it actually works. So the Hermit is a very abundant kind of a card, because it links you in to who you are and all the abundance of you. And you might not feel it sometimes. In fact, you might hardly ever feel it. But there is abundance within you. I absolutely promise you, there is abundance within you. And you'll keep finding it as long as you keep looking for it. That's the thing. Prince of Pentacles then. We're very high up in the suit of pentacles. This is very positive, and this isn't really terribly conclusive because it's not the king, it's not the queen, it's the prince. It's a kind of youthful understanding of abundance. But that's all we've got, really, guys, because we are mere mortals. Okay, we've all had eternal. We've all experienced the eternal world, the afterlife, as it were, because we've had so many incarnations. But we don't have full access to that knowledge of the afterlife, of the eternal realms, when we're living a life in this world. And you can do past life regression, of course you can. And I'm not saying I don't believe in that. I mean, I've done it, you know, and I know it's a very real thing. But what I remember from when I've regressed people and done that, that there are many lives, and we kind of step off into a life that we think is the life we're looking for, but there are so many other lives in that sort of corridor of eternity that we step into on our way to doing regression. And it's only actually when the body passes away and we go into the afterlife and spend some not time is the wrong word, I nearly tripped over myself there is no time in eternity, but when we spend a holiday, you might call it, in eternity, that's when we really have access to all this stuff. And the soul is like a diamond. Each incarnation is a facet of the diamond. And so then that person passes away and that soul goes back and becomes a part of the diamond. And when reincarnation happens, another facet comes out and has a life. So the soul is always growing and learning and going further and further and higher and higher. So that ties into the Prince of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles in quite a big way. And if we think of the middle card there, the Hermit, that's where we really get access. We might not get exactly access to everything that the human soul knows in a way that we can fully understand it, but that's what we're working with when we get to that point. Excuse me a second. There we are, I'm back. I just had to jump up because Marcy was on the windowsill digging up the seedlings in my seedling pots that are growing there because it's terrible weather outside, so I brought everything in. She is a fab cat, though, she really is. Anyway, right, so we're coming. Are you coming up? She's here now, just a second. Come and say hello. No, she's pulling away. Okay, maybe she'll jump up if I leave her. Right, so that brings us to card number 5, the outcome card. It is the Hierophant. And I'm delighted that this spread has come up all pretty much relating to the subject of today's video, the magic of life, the magic of whatever it is, you know, and however old the earth is, that sort of hidden, unseen knowledge, that knowledge that the soul knows, that we all have at soul level, but that we can't access in our everyday lives. The Hierophant goes nicely with the Hermit, actually, and look how clear-sighted the Hierophant is in this card. Or is it the Hierophant? I don't know. Maybe it's pronounced different ways in different parts of the world. I would not be at all surprised if that's the case. But we've got the Hierophant here, and the Hierophant is a bit like a priest of some kind, but really it's your own inner priest. That's the thing, and that is your higher self. That is your own consciousness, you know. Your subconscious mind is all part of your consciousness. And how we access those hidden depths of the subconscious minds is, like the Hermit, we meditate. And that's how we get in there. And we might not know what we're seeing. But this is why it's always so important to trust your vibes. Always trust your vibes. Because your vibes might not make any sense to you as you think about what's going on in the world, but the vibes that you get about things are all informed by that higher self, by those past lives, by everything that's locked in to the subconscious mind. Okay, so my friends, there we are. That's it for today. I really appreciate you guys watching. Do give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this one, and do hit the subscribe button as well. Now also, please friends, if you've already subscribed, would you mind checking to see if you're still subscribed? Because there's a YouTube glitch or a bug or something, and large numbers of people unsubscribe. Sometimes my subscribers go up by 20 and then they'll like drop again by 25. And you know, that could just be me being fed up, couldn't it? But it isn't, because lots of serious YouTubers and content creators are complaining about this happening at the time. Something about YouTube just unsubscribes people. So do please check to see if you're still subscribed. And if you've been unsubscribed, hit that button again. Tap the bell so you don't miss anything. If you'd like to buy me or the channel a coffee, please go to coffee.com/Andy's Readings. There's a link to it down there in the description, along with links to all kinds of good stuff, Facebook, Instagram, all of that, and my email 35and83@gmail.com, and that's great for getting in touch. It's also the email address to use if you would like to book a reading with me. I'm always happy to take bookings. There is a small fee involved, I'm afraid, but I'm nothing like as expensive as a lot of psychics. I like to kind of keep it reasonable, so everyone's got a chance, basically. That's what it's all about. So if you'd like a reading, do hit me up, 35and83@gmail.com, and I'll be very, very happy to do that for you. Meanwhile, be good to each other, friends. I'll see you again very soon, live at least twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays, 9 p.m. UK time. That's 3 p.m. Central USA time. So do join us for the live, then I can pick a card for you, maybe, if you'd like me to pick a card for you. It's always fun. We always have a nice vibe. That's great. And look out for more live sessions coming up at different times of day, because I'm kind of experimenting, you know. I don't want to leave anybody out. That's what I'm all about. That's what the channel is all about. So keep it real. Keep it twig, brother. Hope I didn't blow your mind too much, but it's interesting, isn't it? Hey, and I'll see you again in the next one, which is going to be very, very soon. Love, light, blessings, and peace to you. Bye-bye.